Is your body a comfortable home for you? Is your house a home for you that feels peaceful and nice to you? That's what we're going to talk about today. So if you want more information, go to livebrighterwithtara.info and leave a 5-star review. It helps us out and I love it. Thank you. So HOME, I'm using it as an acronym to help us out. So HOME stands for, H stands for healthy, O stands for own it, M stands for mentally safe, and E stands for emotionally safe. So first we're going to talk about our bodies being our home. I have to be honest, I was not comfortable in my body for a long time, especially when I was in a destructive relationship, because I wasn't honoring my body. I wasn't dealing with conflict within myself, or what I call cognitive dissonance. It's where I had two views like, hey, this guy is supposed to love me, but oh my goodness, he's been bitter 5 years and blaming me for it. Like, I had difficulty dealing with those things in my mind and in my body. So I was constantly in conflict. I did not like to be by myself alone, quiet, because then all of those things that I was in conflict about would start to arise. And I had not taken the time and intention to resolve it. So it was not my home of my body, the H. It was not healthy because I was trying to deny, my body, my sensations, my desires, my needs, my wants, all of those things, and just trying to cognitively just do this, and was not honest with myself. So H, healthy, loving yourself, being peaceful, dealing with conflict within yourself. I think it's really important to accept ourselves. We're all kind of shitty, to be honest, and we're all amazingly beautiful and wonderful. And if we're striving for perfection out of a need of whether it's in our past, we realize that we had to work for love or we weren't enough, so we're striving for perfection, that is super destructive on us. And so rather than that, just, being accepting ourselves that we all have areas that we're growing in, and we all have areas that are wonderful, and God loves us and he sees all of that, and we really just embracing that love that he has for us is a great way to start with the H, the healthy part of our bodies and ourselves, and having that healthy in our home. The O stands for owning it. And that means being honest with ourselves, having those honest conversations, accepting reality. I know that probably sounds ridiculous, but for me, accepting reality as it was hard because I didn't really like it. And so really just being like, hey, yeah, I am in a relationship that's causing me a lot of mental, physical, and emotional turmoil. And I don't know what to do, and just accepting that reality was really challenging for me. So just accepting things as they are and being honest about it to myself really starts to create a home for me. And also understanding, for me, being honest about what I think and feel, rather than having things unsaid and assumptions and silent agreements. Just really owning who I am and having honesty with what's important to me. Another thing, when we make mistakes, rather than criticizing ourselves and being down on ourselves, just owning it and saying sorry. It's amazing. I remember going to a marriage conference a while ago, and it was kind of a weird time to be going to it because that was when my husband and I were kind of at the end of things. I go to this marriage conference, and they were talking to everyone that was dating and engaged possibly, and they said, if you guys are not regularly saying sorry to each other, if your partner has not said sorry, then run. Just get away from it. And so, that sort of not saying sorry to one another can create huge amount of tension in relationships, but really just being, and saying sorry when we do ourselves wrong or when we do others wrong, and being honest about it. It's okay. We all mess up, and that's okay.
I'm a pretty kind, easygoing person, helpful. I get along well with others. What? You're saying that makes me a target for selfish and narcissistic people? That's terrible. I don't want relationships like that. If you would like to see how large your kind girl bullseye is, take the quiz below.
So then also creating a mentally safe place in our minds. So that's a big deal. I think that a lot of us, as I don't know I think it's more definitely women, we can be really hard on ourselves. I had to really change my programming around that and really be like, okay, if I would not say this to a friend, then I cannot be saying it to me. I cannot be cutting myself down. I cannot be shaming myself, different things like that. And then, that's also identifying that, yes, we've got a lifeguard part of our bodies that are keeping us safe, but in the safety part of it, it's telling us kind of negative things. And then, and just making sure we're downloading that friend part of our brain that is encouraging and that does want to see us succeed and that thinks that we're, a great person. And that creating that mental safety within ourselves with kindness and respect to ourselves is a process. It's not something I think automatically we're kind of not so nice to ourselves. So being intentionally creating a mentally safe place in our minds for ourselves. And emotionally, and that goes with the E, just mentally and emotionally, those go together, because when it's mentally safe, then it's emotionally safe. Allowing myself to feel whatever feelings I want and giving myself the freedom to feel those feelings and learning how to process was took some time and that took some intention. So that was a big deal. So just creating your body being your home, learning to accept yourself, being healthy, owning it, being honest with ourselves, mentally safe, creating a emotionally safe home is huge. That can be very challenging if you're in a destructive situation because there's a constant barrage of other information, and that's something to be aware of, that you may have to go outside of yourselves or that relationship and see a counselor or somebody else that can help establish that healthy, own it, mentally safe, emotionally safe within yourselves. Because that's very hard in a destructive relationship where they're constantly barraging you with other messages. And then the next thing is making your house your home. And what I'm dealing with specifically is the other relationships in your house. Again, if it is a destructive relationships, then it's about intentionally trying to change that. Is your house something where it's fear-based, full of conflict? Is there a lot of suppressed emotions? Is there resentment? Is there bitterness? Those are things that are destructive to you as a person and you as a home unit. And we get to choose that, whether it be like trying to make that healthier, getting our own home healthy, or actually having to leave and create a different home environment. So again, when we look at our house becoming our home, those relationships within our house becoming a home, again, I would say healthy, own it, honest, mentally safe, and emotionally safe. And I've had to be very intentional with my kids and with my family in my house to create that. I know, like healthy, like are we mostly peaceful? Are we dealing with conflict? That has been a training thing because a lot of us haven't learned how to deal with conflict, and learning to deal with conflict with each other is key. So the kids we have an emotional wheel, and we talk about like, hey, this is our emotions, and just learning to feel it and know it is part of it. And then just creating a safe place, like we can have emotions, we can work through things. And then honesty, we can have hard conversations, we can create space for others to have different opinions. I say sorry to my kids because I make mistakes. And also creating a mentally safe. I know for a while the kids, and I think one of my daughters still struggles with this, they want to be sarcastic to each other and they think that's funny, but they're actually cutting their sibling down. And I'm like, I'm really not okay with that, because basically you're cutting them down, you're pretending like it's funny and this and that. And the other person's like, oh, it's okay. But then later I find out that it really didn't feel good, the little barbs and the little insults. And I really feel like as a household, we should be building each other up. I've always had kind of a rule in the house. It's like, you guys can't be playing with friends if you can't be nice to each other. Because this is where it starts. Like, if you cannot be nice to each other, then how you're treating your sister, how you're treating your brother, that's how you're going to treat your spouse. And I'm not okay with this behavior. Like, that's just not okay. We got to learn to work together in a way that is healthy and benefiting everyone. And then you can have your friends. But if you can't start right here, then you don't get to play with your friends. It doesn't work. It's not okay to treat others that are further away from you with more love and respect, and treat the people closest to you with rudeness and sarcasm. I'm just not okay with that. And just being emotionally safe, allowing people to have their feelings and to feel them, Just the other day, my son, he's 15, he had kind of a, I call it a meltdown. And just creating a space where you can have different feelings as long as you're not using that as an excuse to hurt others, but creating a space or a container to just feel it. And then I didn't right away, okay, why are you da 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 da? What's so bad? I gave him time to learn to process, and we talked about it later. But really creating a space to feel whatever feeling it is, whether it's anger or sadness or disappointment, and identifying what those feelings are, because that's really part of the challenge. Is like, am I mad, or am I disappointed, or do I feel disrespected, or what is down a little bit deeper in that? So creating that. And so a house is not a home until you create it. And rather than having a fear-based or full of conflict, resentment, or anything like that, creating an environment that is healthy for everybody is really powerful, and it's important. But first, again, that starts with creating our own house, our own body, and having that be home. And the part about our bodies, and just being connected with ourselves and having that be healthy, own it, mentally safe and emotionally safe, if we're not doing that regularly, what happens is there's resentment, bitterness. If we're in a destructive relationship, we can start feeling suicidal, murderous, mentally or physical challenges. So really prioritizing ourselves and creating a home within ourselves is very important and very powerful, and it is a challenge, and we can all do it, and we can be intentional about it. For more information, go to livebrighterwithtara.info. Grow 1% every day. We all are growing, and I believe in you. Make it a great day.